Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our channel where we uncover the unknown details of the royals, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Up next, a hot take from your favorite royal critic. Prepare yourselves as we go deep into Meghan Markle's journey to D-list stardom, and we mean no stone unturned. All of that bombshell dropping we need to get into right now, but first go ahead, subscribe and click on the bell so you get alerted whenever we have some more juicy content. Let's jump right in. Apparently, the Duchess has been bestowed with a new title, a traditional Yoruba name, Adetokunbo. Picking up, she professes love for the name and declares she will wear it like a grand old dame. Grace and dignity. Really, do we believe her sincerity in this? Her royal exit feels like a little bit of a last-ditch attempt to keep her name out there, as do you agree? The title of this piece, Meghan Markle, is written by Kelly Maria Corducci. Meghan Markle putting on a pretty smile, photo, Getty Images. When it comes to pretending in order to create a media facade, Meghan Markle has more than just a title to preserve. She has a story to sell. Her attempt to present herself as a humanitarian icon and cultural ambassador, above the messy drama of royal courts. But that is just a ruse, right? We are too smart for that. Literally every step she makes is thoroughly thought of to have its repercussions on the media scene. Think about it, why Nigeria at this time? Almost too convenient, right? As public appetite for Meghan and Harry's story starts to dwindle, she goes and does this. It is almost as if she employs a functioning PR unit that arranges these optics. Perhaps she indeed does. The irony here is not lost. Having stepped down from royal duties due to mental health and media intrusion, she has now bitten the hand that feeds her and actively seeks the limelight she claims to want. What truly boggles the mind are the contradictions. It seems like we are watching a live soap opera happening, but the difference is Meghan is now in the lead of her perfectly written drama. Okay, some might say that this criticism is too harsh. Is it not worthwhile for someone to become introduced to a new culture and come out the other side as a colonel? It seems innocent enough at first glance. But in reality, patterns of opportunistic behavior eventually reveal themselves, and they should not be dismissed. This is not an example of genuine cultural appreciation, this is cultural exploitation. It's about seizing on any possible reason to keep her name in the headlines, to generate buzz, and to keep the momentum going for her own personal branding. Meghan, now what? Or will she move on to another cause, embrace a new title, or invent a new identity to keep us interested? Letting only time tells the next chapter. What is known for sure, however, is that we will be here to dissect and question every single one of her choices. The idea of selling this to a gullible audience, like she tried to do with of her newfound love with her own heritage, is laughable. Embracing her heritage? It's a facade. A person who turned down a Netflix offer and threw it away like a faded fashion trend? But all of a sudden, she wants to be the proud African princess. Give me a break. This is the same woman who spent years trying to erase any connection to her ethnic background in order to attract a wealthy white husband to support her dreams of grandeur. And let's not ignore the real issue at hand here. Without her Duchess title, Meghan Markle is as relevant as last year's fashion. She's a Z-list actress turned social climber, aspiring influencer with only a weak link to the British royal family. So, what's a woman to do when her royal connections start to fade away? Well, she seizes onto any semblance of credibility she can grasp. Hence, the newly acquired title of Adetokunbo, a desperate ploy to stay in the limelight and preserve her perceived importance. But let's face it. No number of prestigious Yoruba titles can mask the fact that Meghan Markle is a swindler, plain and simple. Over the years, Meghan has meticulously shaped an image that distances herself from her mixed-race background. She has consistently sought validation from those who could boost her social standing, often compromising her own heritage. Her strategic moves to secure a high-profile marriage are widely known, as is her subsequent lack of interest in maintaining that same level of visibility when the demands of royal life became burdensome. Meghan's increasing alienation from royal and media circles has prompted a change in strategy. Her sudden focus on her African heritage and adoption of the Adetokunbo title comes across as opportunistic. It appears to be a transparent effort to rebrand herself in hopes of attracting a different audience and gaining new admirers. The irony of this transformation is striking. Meghan Markle, once keen on assimilating into a world that esteemed her for her ties to British aristocracy, is now attempting to redefine herself by embracing a cultural identity she previously distanced herself from. This shift seems more about staying relevant than genuine self-discovery or cultural appreciation. As the public sees through these efforts, the question arises, who is the real Meghan Markle? Is she the socialite seeking acceptance among the elite or the newfound advocate for her heritage? The contradictions in her story are apparent, suggesting that her loyalty lies with whatever persona keeps her in the spotlight and not with any specific identity. Ultimately, Meghan's narrative serves as a cautionary tale about seeking validation externally. Her continuous reinvention exposes deeper insecurities and a constant hunger for acknowledgement. While the success of her latest persona as Adetokunbo remains uncertain, one thing is clear: Meghan Markle's journey is ongoing, and her pursuit of significance will likely lead to further reinventions. She is an expert manipulator who has devoted her entire adult life to pursuing fame and fortune, leaving behind a path of damaged relationships and severed ties. Yet now, she anticipates us to accept that she has a sudden interest in exploring and comprehending her heritage. Spare me the insincere display of emotions. This individual has shown little regard for maintaining connections with her own family members, let alone delving into the complexities of her cultural heritage. Her involvement with her family has been scarce, to say the least. However, if adopting an elaborate African name is what it takes to maintain lucrative endorsement contracts, then so be it, correct? Ultimately, the Meghan Markle brand must find ways to remain significant, even if it entails appropriating an entire culture for personal benefit. It all comes down to appearance, public perception, and remaining in the spotlight. But let me talk about the real victims here, guys. The real Yoruba people with a rich culture and heritage being made a mockery of for cheap publicity. This woman has some huevos, am I right? They waltz in and wear it like it's the hot new accessory of the season. It is not a simple amusement toward their culture, but an act of in-your-face defiance. That's an insult to everyone she purports to celebrate with her newfound Adetokunbo name, particularly to those who have lived and breathed the traditions she's so unceremoniously commandeering. Kanye's soul is not a plaything or an accessory, something to be worn with all the same patterned shirts that his immense blackness must remove itself from before changing its name or who it is for. Then again, what else would you hope to hear from a girl-making-her-way politician who has pushed herself up by climbing over anyone who has come into her path? We need people like her, and her record is exemplary. Which also means, ladies and gents, we've got to call a spade here. This has little to do with sincere curiosity or an appreciation for her culture. This is about brand management, staying in the news cycle, and finding new ways to grab the public by the cojones. It is about doing whatever it takes to make sure all eyes are trained on her, even if it means appropriating a culture she is very foreign to. And the entire charade is a meticulously calibrated performance meant to pluck at the heartstrings of those who would love nothing more for her to now be who she says she is. Ultimately, this is not merely a question of integrity for the individual player, but the vaster issue of the cultural appropriation and lack of respect portrayed towards these communities. And this is not just about Meghan Markle, this is about all kinds of people, and culture that is exploited on a regular basis. It is about recognizing that identity is not an outfit that can be put on whenever it is convenient but rather a core part of a person. The next time you see her walking around showing off her new title, remember the real story. I recommend looking up pictures of the actual people whose culture is being used as a silly inspiration. But most of all, we should honor the few that are sacred, and remember that even cultural heritage should not be crumpled up and thrown away like rubbish. Again, Meghan Markle is no Ada Tokunbo. She is an attention-starved D-lister, holding on to what tiny bit of fame she has left, including denigrating and co-opting an entire culture. And you know what? The charade of this royal impostor is no charade to King Charles. But come on, you didn't think I'd forget about this guy. While our dear monarch has been keeping his thoughts in public to a minimum, there's little doubt he's absolutely furious in the privacy of their homes. But this is, after all, the woman who did everything to name and denigrate his family, who explained to the world the dirty linen of his relatives and used regal arrangements in business settings. Now all of the sudden this chick has some nerve to put African in front of a fancy title like it's the new hot thing. I will bet that Charles is watching this disgraceful spectacle with steam coming out of his ears. To him, Meghan Markle is not a human who did a lot of things before being given the title of Duchess. She is no taking out the trash in sweatpants, going to the grocery store version of his long-legged kitten wife. But if we peel back the affected part a bit, it goes a little deeper. For a while there, you could hardly open any tabloid without hearing about Meghan Markle and her rags-to-riches love story, which has since turned into a royal nightmare. She never really did become an A-lister, even when she kicked off her career as an actress on the TV show Suits. Marriage to Prince Harry should have been the global fairy tale to sate her, yet the glare of royalty proved insufficient. After stepping down from her royal duties, and a tell-all interview that certainly didn't reflect positively on the royal family, it seemed like a play to form a new life of being free and impactful. The irony is unmistakable. Despite the fact she claims she wants to be an independent woman, she continues to trade off the royal connections she professes to despise. In her latest power play she is just trying to keep up, making the equivalent of donning an African title, as the world continues to pretend as if her apparent struggles do not exist. For King Charles, who has seen more time in the public eye and is deeply committed to the role of a lifetime as well as the institution of the monarchy itself, one can only guess at his frustration. He has remained composed through scandals and family feuds. Though behind the walls of Versailles, his frustration must be thick. This person, who once married into the royal family, has time and time again accused her famous connection from her passport country of anything and everything just to secure financial gain, thereby sullied the reputation of the monarchy and exacerbated an established institution that has worked to contemporize itself. Today, Meghan's use of an African title looks almost ludicrous, as if she were just wearing it this year. The boldness is staggering. Something as culturally resonant as titles and accolades are definitely not a trivial thing for self-promotion. Here, the burden of weight, history, and respect carry forward. In wearing that title, so flippantly dropped into conversation for a cheap laugh, Meghan belittles its meaning and dismisses the culture it represents. In light of this, what is not said by King Carl XVI Gustav says a great deal. This tells on his discipline and awareness of the monarchy to be above the underwear waltz. One can nevertheless imagine incredulous, baffled conversations between members of the royal family in private. The many of you against the few of us, let us raise our wine glasses for a toast to King Charles, his unyielding patience, his duty-bound resolve, and his stoical grace against palpable provocations. Meghan Markle still a publicity junkie, but leaving the limelight of the royal stage might make her irrelevant by comparison. King Charles is a steady figure, the archetype of business as usual in a constantly evolving realm. The courage required to reveal exactly the sad facade it was, an aging star desperate to keep herself in the public eye. Even if this comes at the expense of the exploitation of an entire culture, this is truly disgraceful. Meghan Markle, learn ye this. Long live the royal titles and culture vulturettes, it won't translate to realness in the eyes of the people who can see your mask slipping. You slippery red man, you backsliding social climber who alienated all that you touched. The world is watching, and your actions speak louder than words. Go ahead Ada Tokunbo, of your fragile ego assuming that strange-ass persona, but then, remind yourself, without the Duchess title, you are just another washed-up star clinging to faded glories of yesteryear. Excuse me everybody, the world is watching. Your desperate theatrics aren't fooling anyone, and we're not buying it. However, this extends past the royals and cultural appropriation. This is about authenticity and respect. You have provided none of these things, over and over again, and now the reckoning is nigh. Step up to the moment and wear your anonymity proudly, or prepare to have mean things said about you once again. Not really, Meghan, because frankly my dear, you ain't all that, mentioned in the long run, without that royal handle, not one bit. No convoluted self-flattering title or cultural appropriation will mitigate that bitter truth. Your titles do not define your worth. What defines your worth is what you do and how you do it. Do you have an opinion on this? Share in the comments, I want to know. Subscribe for more shocking stories and scandalous reveals on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for non-stop inspiration delivered fresh to your feed, every day. For Twitter updates, follow at Yahoo Style UK. Read more from Yahoo Style UK. Thank you for watching. We will return with as many exciting updates on the royal family. See you soon.